Good morning. Welcome back. Charlie, Ernie, and Lisa recovering from our politically incorrect Christmas party yesterday. Thanks for joining us this morning. And if you happened to tune in yesterday, thank you for tuning in yesterday. And if you didn't, well, you missed a hell of a party. Let me tell you.
It was a good one. It was a good one.
Woo! Joining us this morning in studio, independent candidate for mayor, Dan Smith. And Dan just stopped by Senator Dick Maz's store in Colchester just to get the okay to come into Colchester and also to pick up some, like we didn't have enough goodies yesterday.
Dick Mazza, the gatekeeper of the Charlie and Ernie show.
I got to say, Senator Mazza tried to sell me a fruit basket for you guys yesterday.
I'm thinking more and more about this. Anytime we get into a political season, Mazza's General Store, this is like a stimulus package for the General Store, because anybody that comes on this show knows you got to stop over and see Dick and bring over a little offering for Charlie, Ernie, and Lisa.
Did he do? Did he give you bananas today, Dan?
You
picked a banana?
That's for me.
He said
that's for me.
Ernie really needs the bananas these days.
No, it's me. Yeah. I do. I eat a banana every day. In fact, I've already started. So I have one for tomorrow.
He used to have a plastic one in here, Dan, that he kept over there.
Just to fake everybody
That's
out,
right.
Now, stick around. Coming up right after the 7:30 news break this morning, we're going to give you a chance to ham it up with Charlie, Ernie, and Lisa. So we're looking for a joke this morning. Make us laugh. You can win a ham from Mackenzie's Country Classics. It's their carving ham, boneless, 5-pound, cured with pure Vermont maple syrup. We'll give that away coming up right after the 7:30 news break. So that's some of what we got coming up this morning. And checking in with independent candidate for mayor, Dan Smith, joining us in studio this morning. Dan, good morning to you. Man, you have really hit the ground running when you consider you are the only candidate right now. You're running radio ads.
I've got to say we're very pleased with our organization, and we're even more pleased with the response we've gotten to an independent candidacy. We've got a great team. We've got a great office. Our website's up and running at dansmithformayor.com. But more than anything else, it's really been invigorating to have people reach out and say, we think the city's really ready for independent leadership. We really think the city's really ready for a clean slate, so we can take on the challenges that we see without all the baggage that goes with a lot of history and a lot of the partisanship that has really evolved in our city over the course.
So is that why you're running as an independent?
I'm running as an independent because I am an independent.
Yeah.
And I thought of myself.
You've never declared any leanings towards any party or?
No, I mean, I was raised, obviously my father, Peter Smith, was a Republican congressman for the state of Vermont. My mother was a Democrat, and she was town moderator in Middlesex for, she had, like I said in the Free Press, she's fond of reminding everybody she's the only Smith who never lost an election. And I grew up with those debates, and we grew up balancing the ideas at the dinner table and listening to all sides. And I think in the 21st century, people are really ready to pull good ideas wherever they come from. No matter what party they come from, no matter what person they come from. And the city, in order to meet the challenges that are out there, really needs to pull the ideas from wherever they are.
With 4 candidates in the race, you certainly understand, as everybody does, that instant runoff voting is going to be an issue in this race, as it was in the last race. And that was Mayor Kiss was decided the winner through instant runoff voting. When you know that going into the race, and this is your first political campaign, right? This is your first time running for office.
That's right.
Do you try to factor that in? And we've talked with other candidates about this. How do you? Because it's not just about vote for me. It's also you might be asking people to put me down as your second vote.
I think what it does is it forces everybody to stay on their message, understand why they're running, and talk about their vision for the city, and to stay positive. Because no matter what, we all have to wake up in the city and the community on March 4th, and we've all got to be able to look each other in the eye. And instant runoff just forces everybody to do that on a more deliberate basis. I mean, you have to stay on your message and stay positive.
Could you explain instant runoff voting to us? I'm just kidding. We've been through that many times.
I'm an attorney by training, but it'll take up all our time.
And you'll bill us?
So why do you want to be mayor?
Over the course of the last year and a half, I've been back in Burlington for about 6 years, but I was meeting with professionals, I was meeting with families, and I was meeting with people and talking to them about where the city was. And there was a hunger for some vision, there was a hunger for some energy, and there's this incredible vitality that's out there. And people really were after an administration that matched that vitality, that matched that vigor. And frankly, they don't see it right now, and they need some confidence in where we're going in a time of economic uncertainty. And I think the background I have in economic development begins to give people some confidence in where we might be able to head as a community.
Yeah. What do you see going on in the city right now that you feel really needs to be changed, the current administration?
Well, I want to be careful, like we just about going down a negative road. I think we need to work on openness in the city government. I think we need to work on some vision. I think we need to have an economic development strategy that matches the obligations that we have out there and the commitments that we've made over the course of the last period of years. We have some significant liabilities on the books, and we need to have a strategy for saying, okay, we've got a strapped community and an economic downturn. A strapped community in an economic downturn, and we've got to find a way to tell them, all right, we're going to meet these commitments, but here's our strategy for how we're going to do it without asking you to shoulder a greater burden.
We're facing some tough economic times. You know, the question came up during the governor's race. Why would anybody at this time going into, tough times such as they are, why would somebody want this job? As you take a look at some of the tough economic times that you're going to be facing as the mayor of the city of Burlington, possible tax increases. We're talking about some of the cuts in the administration that Vermont has gone over recently. Almost $20 million in cuts yesterday brought out. These are things that you're going to be facing as a mayor of the city of Burlington. And you just take a look at, I think, the story that came out the other day about the vacancy rate of buildings in the city. Again, you talk about turning the economy around, and what exactly would you do? How do you stimulate the economy? How do you? And I think a lot of it has to do with getting the businesses back in the city.
Right. I mean, that's right. And one of the things you do in economic development is focus on recruitment. You also focus on creating opportunities and the expansion of existing companies. And we have an incredible number of small startups in the city of Burlington and in Chittenden County as a whole. And I think there's a strategy for our city to actually bring those jobs back into the downtown and bring those opportunities back into the downtown if we reorient city government and retask it in that way. So I do think there's a way through the challenge. The question as to why you would want this job in a time of economic uncertainty and facing the challenges that are out there. I mean, there are an incredible number of families, incredible number of professionals who are deeply committed to the city of Burlington and are looking for a reason to engage. There's so much intellectual capital. There's so many smart people out there in the community who are looking for a reason to engage. And I think we can find our way through this if we give those people a reason to engage and be a part of city government and recommit to the community. And that, they just need to see a reflection of themselves in city government. They need to see a city government that matches the pace of change that they're experiencing in their daily lives. I mean, these are companies and these are folks who are competing in California, San Francisco, East Asia. They're all over the world.
Do you have a plan, Dan, to bring businesses to Burlington?
I'm working on a recruitment strategy, but it's also a matter of taking a look at the Community and Economic Development Office. And I think there are people who do great work in that office. But the real push points of economic development are, access to capital, making sure companies have the money they need to expand, workforce development, and access to infrastructure, making sure that they can get their products to market over the highways, if that's the case, or over the internet, if that's the case. And just making sure that we're very disciplined and very focused on how we can provide those resources and provide those linkages for businesses to grow.
Do you see tax incentives, again, ways to entice businesses to set up in the city of Burlington, maybe some tax breaks?
The city doesn't have that many tools in terms of tax breaks that it can use. When I say access to capital, I think it's just making sure that you know where the pools of money are that are out there, whether it's private financing, venture cap. It's just making sure that you have those pools of money available and can connect people to them. And where there are city resources or federal resources that flow through the CEDO office, we need to